Hello, welcome back. Oh my goodness, it has been days since I have read, which it makes me feel bad because I was so faithful and I did so good for the longest time, and then holy cow, things have been crazy. Last night about 10 o'clock, my boss texted me and said, and I had been working all day doing some spreadsheets and stuff for him, and he texted me and he's like, hey, I know this is short notice, but I have a sharpening event where he sharpens knives for people, and he's been training Charles in to sharpen knives because I don't enjoy doing them, but Charles actually does. So we decided we'd be a team, and I would book events and I would help people if they want to buy more stuff and look at the catalogs and everything, and Charles would sharpen their knives, and we'd like be this team to do the free sharpening for life for Cutco. So it was a good opportunity, and he said we overbooked and I'm going to be swamped. I'll pay you if you'll come and help us. And Charles had this huge job he's working on, and Mark is already, his boss is like, you got to get this job done, and are you going to get it done, and I hope you're not burning out. And he worked all night, slept for 1 hour, and we drove an hour and a half, and then I put the wrong stupid address in and we went to the wrong place, and then we were clear a half hour out of the way. So then we had to turn around and go back to the right hotel where the event was at. So we were way late, which means we didn't get paid as much because obviously we took an hour longer getting there than we should have, which was so stupid. Anyway, we did the event and it was great. It went really well. And then we drove all the way home for another hour and a half. So we did like 3.5 hours of driving and a couple of hours of sharpening. And then my boss he has some more stuff he needs me to do on the spreadsheets, and he's keeping me busier and busier with lots of stuff. So I just sat up to here and work, and Caden doesn't like it, so he doesn't. He just he is. I sit down at the computer. Hi, did you hear your name? I sit down on the computer, and he's like, because I'll sit here for hours, working and typing and spreadsheets. And anyway, he doesn't like it. So he's making it harder and harder for me to work because he hates it when I sit down to work, because then he doesn't get as much attention. Anyway, it's been tough. I've been so busy, but I miss it. I miss this. I miss reading. I miss, getting to spend a little bit of time with my sweeties. And I know that lots of times they can't come on live anyway, but I still feel like it's a way to connect. And I decided this is really important. There's Kayla coming to say hi.
Hi, I have a missing tooth.
She sure does.
Anyway. This is my second one.
Yep. Her other one grew clear in before her second one came out, so she didn't have two at once. Anyway, I decided that I need to keep making this a priority because I miss it. It's kind of my wind down time and relax and do something special, okay, you can't come over here and make faces at my friends.
Sorry.
Okay. You can smile cute. You can't make weird faces. That's embarrassing.
Look at my dress I'm wearing today.
She looks pink. It's very pink. She looks like a Valentine's girl. Huh? Yeah. See that big old heart? Yeah, it's cute. I have to wash it in time for Valentine's Day. Our apartment's doing a little Valentine dessert treat thing, so we're gonna go.
And what did you have for Valentine's?
Well, it's not Valentine's yet, so they don't know what they had. And for dinner, we had KFC. We stopped and grabbed Kentucky Fried Chicken on our way home because I told Charles I'd make dinner and everything, but we were starving and it had been a long day, and so he's so sweet and he let us get chicken. Okay, and I don't have anything cute to show you. I was in the middle of a spreadsheet. And I was like, oh my goodness, it's time to read. I'm going to stop and I'm going to go read. So,
here, I'll find some things.
Oh, Kata, so we'll go find something. She's so cute. Okay, so letter 9. Trying to remember. So we were at the place where Evelina's father, excuse me, they wrote to him about Evelina.
I found some stuff.
Oh, some of this is probably stuff I've already showed off. Oh, I don't think I've showed these ones. These are super cute. Here, turn around the right way. Okay, I'll show off these ones. So they have the metal like frame
Can Tom ride
and then a
with
little
you?
key. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's a little key charm, and then the
Tom
blue
ride
and white
with
flowers
you.
is polymer clay.
Ow,
So cute, right? I think they're adorable. Anyway, yeah, super cute. And then I think
And
I
like
showed
the
off
video,
most of these other ones.
please subscribe
Oh,
and
I
like.
dropped. I think I've showed these cute little tiny
Subscribe and like.
fans.
Subscribe and like.
Yeah, subscribe and like what Kayla said. And I showed off the
Please.
little circle ball one, right?
That's cute.
I know it's so hard to. I need better lighting and a better way to display, but
Maybe your old
cute stuff.
computer had
Okay.
better lighting.
Well, it's not the computer that's the lighting; it's our lights. So I need like a light that's right here in front of me, so that we're not kind of in the dark, you know. Okay, so this is Evelina to the Reverend Mr. Villers, London, June 6th. Once more, my dearest sir, I write to you from this great city. Yesterday morning, with the truest concern, I quitted the dear inhabitants of Howard Grove, and most impatiently shall I count the days till I see them again. Lady Howard and Mrs. Mervyn took leave of me with the most flattering kindness, but indeed I knew not how to part with Maria, whose own apparent sorrow redoubled mine. She made me promise to send her a letter every post, and I shall write to her with the same freedom and almost... That's my baby. And almost the same confidence you allow me to make use of to yourself. The captain was very civil to me, but he wrangled with poor Madame. Is he stuck, Kayla? So will you help him get out? Oh, sorry, it's so noisy here. This is our house. This is what it's like. Do you want to get out? Maybe he just wants you to push him around in the stroller. Is that what he wants?
Wait, Tom needs to ride with you.
Okay.
There you go.
But he wrangled with poor Madame Duval to the last moment, and taking me aside just before we got into the chaise, he said, "Hark ye, Miss Anville, I am a favour to ask of you, which is this, that you will write us a word how the old gentlewoman finds herself when she sees it all was a trick, and what the French lover says to it, and all about it." I answered that I would obey him, though I was very little pleased with the commission, which to me was highly improper. But he will either treat me as an informer or make me a party in his frolic. As soon as we drove away, Madame Duval, with much satisfaction, exclaimed, "Dieu merci! We've got off at last. I'm sure I never desire to see that place again. It's a wonder I've got away alive, for I believe I've had the worst luck ever was known. From the time I set my foot upon the threshold, I know I wish I'd never gone. Besides, into the bargain, it's the most dullest place in all Christendom. There's never no diversions, nor nothing at all." Then she bewailed Monsieur Dubois, concerning whose adventures she continued to make various conjectures during the rest of our journey. When I asked her what part of London she should reside in, she told me that Mr. Brainton was to meet us at an inn, and would conduct us to a lodging. Accordingly, we proceeded to a house in Bishopsgate Street, and were led by a waiter into a room where we found Mr. Brainton. He received us very civilly, but seemed rather surprised at seeing me, saying, "Why, I didn't think of your bringing Miss. However, she's very welcome." "I'll tell you how it was," said Madame Duval. "You must know I've a mind to take the girl to Paris, that she may see something of the world, and improve herself a little. Besides, I've no other reason that you and I will talk more about. I've another reason that you and I will talk more about. But do you know that meddling old parson, as I told you of, would not let her go? However, I'm resolved I'll be even with him, for I shall take her on with me without saying never a word no more to nobody." I started at this intimation, which very much surprised me. But I am very glad she is to have discovered her intention, as I shall be carefully upon my guard not to venture from town with her. Mr. Brainton then hoped we had passed our time agreeably in the country. "Oh no, cousin," cried she, I've been the miserablest creature in the world. I'm sure all the horses in London shan't drag me into the country again of one while. Why, do you know, I think I've been served. Only guess." "Indeed, cousin, I can't pretend to do that." Why then, I'll tell you. Do you know, I've been robbed. That is, the villain would have robbed me if he could, only I'd secured all my money. Why then, cousin, I think your loss can't have been very great. Oh, you don't know what you're saying. You're talking in the unsinkingest manner in the world. Why, it was all along of not having no money that I met with that misfortune. How's that, cousin? I don't see what great misfortune you can have met with if you'd secured all your money. That's because you don't know nothing of the matter, for there's a villain came to the chaise, and because we hadn't got nothing to give him, though he'd no more right to our money than a man in the moon, yet do you know, did you bring it in the bedroom with you?
I don't.
Yet do you know, he fell into the greatest passion ever you see, and abused me in such a manner, and put me in a ditch, and got a rope, a purpose to hang me, and I'm sure if this wasn't misfortune enough, why, I don't know what is. This is a hard case indeed, cousin, but why don't you go to Justice Fielding? Oh, as to that, I'm a-going to him directly, but only I want first to see poor Monsieur Dubois, for the oddest thing of all is that he has wrote to me, and never said nothing of where he is, nor what's become of him, nor nothing else. Monsieur Dubois? Why, he's at my house at this very time. Monsieur Dubois, at your house? Well, I declare this is the surprisingest part of all. However, I assure you, I think he might have come for me as well as you, considering what I have gone through on his account. For to tell you the truth, it was all along of him that I met with that accident. So I don't take it very kind of him, I promise you. Well, but, cousin, tell me some of the particulars of this affair. As to the particulars, I'm sure they'd make your hair stand on end to hear them. However, the beginning of it all was through the fault of Monsieur Dubois. I'll assure you, he may take care of himself in future, since he don't so much as come to see if I'm dead or alive. But there I went for him to a justice of peace, and drove all out of the way, and did everything in the world, and was used worse than a dog, and all for the sake of serving him. And now you see, he don't so much. Well, I was a fool for my pains. However, he may get somebody else to be treated so another time, for if he's taken up every day in the week, I'll never go after him no more. This occasioned an explanation, in the course of which Madame Duval, to her utter amazement, heard that Monsieur Dubois had never left London during her absence, nor did Mr. Brington believe that he had ever been to the Tower, or met with any kind of accident. Almost instantly the whole truth of this transaction seemed to rush upon her mind, and her wrath was inconceivably violent. She asked me 1,000 questions in a breath, but fortunately was too vehement to attend to my embarrassment, which must otherwise have betrayed my knowledge of the deceit. Revenge was her first wish, and she vowed she would go the next morning to Justice Fielding and inquire what punishment she might lawfully inflict upon the captain for his assault. I believe we were an hour in Bishopsgate Street before poor Madame Duval could allow anything to be mentioned but her own story. At length, however, Mr. Brington told her that Monsieur Dubois and all his own family were waiting for her at his house. A hackney coach was then called, and we proceeded to Snow Hill. Mr. Brington's house is small and inconvenient, though his shop, which takes in all the ground floor, is large and commodious. I believe I told you before that he is a silversmith. We were conducted up 2 pairs of stairs, for the dining room, which Mr. Brington told us was let, which means it was rented out. His 2 daughters, their brother, Monsieur Dubois, and a young man were at tea. They had waited some time for Madame Duval, but I found they had not any expectation that I should accompany her, and the young ladies, I believe, were rather more surprised than pleased when I made my appearance, for they seemed hurt that I should see their apartment. Indeed, I would willingly have saved them that pain, had it been in my power. The first person who saw me was Monsieur Dubois. "Ah, mon Dieu!" exclaimed he. "Voilà, mademoiselle." "Goodness!" cried young Brington. "If there isn't Miss." "Lord, so there is," said Miss Polly. "Well, I'm sure I should never have dreamed of Mrs. coming." Nor I neither, I'm sure, cried Miss Brainton, or else I would not have been in this room to see her. I'm quite ashamed about it, only not thinking of seeing anybody but my aunt. However, Tom, it's all your fault, for you know very well I wanted to borrow Mr. Smith's room, only you were so grumpy you would not let me. What signifies, said the brother. I dare be sworn Miss has been up 2 pairs of stairs before now. Ha'n't you, Miss? Calissa, you're being really loud. I begged that I might not give them the least disturbance, and assured them that I had not any choice in regard to what room we sat in. Well, said Miss Polly, when you come next, miss, we'll have Mr. Smith's room, and it's a very pretty one, and only up 1 pair of stairs, and nicely furnished, and everything. To say the truth, said Miss Brainton, I thought that my cousin would not, upon any account, have come to town in the summer time, for it's not at all the fashion. So, to be sure, thinks I, she'll stay till September, when the playhouses open. This was my reception, which I believe you will not call a very cordial one. Madame Duval, who, after having severely reprimanded Monsieur Dubois for his negligence, was just entering upon the story of her misfortunes, now wholly engaged the company. Monsieur Dubois listened to her with a look of the utmost horror, repeatedly lifting up his eyes and hands and exclaiming, "Oh ciel, quel barbare!" or however you say it. I don't know how to speak French. The young ladies gave her the most earnest attention, but their brother and the young man kept a broad grin upon their faces during the whole recital. She was, however, too much engaged to observe them, but when she mentioned having been tied in a ditch, young Brainton, no longer able to constrain himself, burst into a loud laugh, declaring that he had never heard of anything so funny in his life. His laugh was heartily re-echoed by his friend. The Miss Braintons could not resist the example, and poor Madame Duval, to her extreme amazement, was absolutely overpowered and stopped by the violence of their mirth. For some minutes the room seemed quite in an uproar. The rage of Madame Duval, the astonishment of Monsieur Dubois, and the angry interrogatories of Mr. Brainton on one side, the convulsive tittering of the sisters, and the loud laughs of the young men on the other, occasioned such noise, passion, and confusion, that had any one stopped an instant on the stairs, he might have concluded himself in Bedlam. At length, however, the father brought them to order, and half laughing, half frightened, they made Madame Duval some very awkward apologies, but she would not be prevailed upon to continue her narrative till they had protested they were laughing at the captain, and not at her. Appeased by this, she resumed her story, which, by the help of stuffing handkerchiefs into their mouths, the young people heard with tolerable decency. Everybody agreed that the ill usage the captain had given her was actionable, and Mr. Brainton said he was sure she might recover what damages she pleased, since she had been put in fear of her life. She then, with great delight, declared that she would lose no time in satisfying her revenge, and vowed she would not be contented with less than half his fortune. For though, said she, I don't put no value upon the money, because, Dieu merci, I ain't no want of it, yet I don't wish for nothing so much as to punish that fellow, for I am sure, whatever's the cause of it, he owes me a great grudge, and I know no more what it's for than you do, but he's always been doing me one spite or another, ever since I knew him. Soon after tea, Miss Brainton took an opportunity to tell me in a whisper that the young man I saw was a lover of her sister's. Calissa, will you help him? That his name was Brown, and that he was a haberdasher, with many other particulars of his circumstances and family, and then she declared her utter aversion to the thoughts of such a match, but added that her sister had no manner of spirit or ambition, though for her part she would 10 times rather die an old maid than marry any person but a gentleman. And for that matter, oh, sorry, my nose is just itching. Somebody's thinking about me. And for that matter, added she, I believe Polly herself don't care that much for him, only she's in such a hurry because I suppose she's a mind to be married before me. However, she's very welcome, for I'm sure I don't care a pin's point whether I ever marry at all. It's all one to me. Some time after this, Miss Polly contrived to tell her story. She assured me with such tittering that her sister was in a great fright lest she should marry first. So I make her believe that I will, continued she, for I love dearly to plague her a little, though I declare I don't intend to have Mr. Brown in reality. I'm sure I don't like him half well enough. Do you, miss? It is not possible for me to judge of his merits, said I, as I am entirely a stranger to him. But what do you think of him, miss? Why, really, I don't know. That's cute. But do you think him handsome? Some people reckon him to have a good, pretty person, but I'm sure for my part, I think he's monstrous ugly. Ugly. Don't you, miss? I'm no judge, but I think his person is very, very well. Very well? Why, pray, miss, in a tone of vexation, what fault can you find with it? So 1 minute she's, okay, let's see, you're being really loud. 1 minute she's saying, oh, I think he's monstrous ugly, in the next, but what's wrong with him? Oh my heck, I'm sorry, I just look terrible. I always do. I always look terrible. I guess I don't care enough. That's cute. What fault can you find with it? Oh, none at all. I'm sure you must be very ill-natured if you could. Now there's Biddy says she thinks nothing of him, but I know it's all out of spite. You must know, miss, it makes her as mad as can be that I should have a lover before her, but she's so proud that nobody will court her. Oh, I don't know if you can even hear me. Okay, listen, you're so loud. I guess it's better for him to laugh than cry. She's dancing for him and he thinks it's hilarious. You should take him for a little stroll. He wants to go. You could even open the door and go out on the deck if you want to. But she's so proud that nobody will court her, and I often tell her she'll die an old maid. But the thing is, she's taken it into her head to have a liking for Mr. Smith. I'm sorry. I'm guessing you can't hear me at all. Okay, listen, that is so loud. Like I'm trying to record and they cannot hear me, like, at all. You're so noisy. She has taken it into her head to have a liking for Mr. Smith, as lodges on the first floor, but he'll never have her, for he's quite a fine gentleman, and besides, Mr. Brown heard him say one day that he'd never marry as long as he lived, for he'd no opinion of matrimony. And Caden, and did you tell your sister this? Oh, to be sure, I told her directly, but she did not. I'm sorry. But she did not mind me. However, if she will be a fool, she must. This extreme want of affection and good nature increased the distaste I already felt for these unamiable sisters, and a confidence so entirely unsolicited and unnecessary manifested equally their folly and their want of decency. Could you at least take him in the other room? Because they cannot hear a word I'm saying. So could you want to go in the bedroom so it's not so loud and echoey, like where there's carpet so it's muffled? Thank you, sweetheart. I was very glad when the time for our departing arrived. Mr. Brington said our lodgings were in Holborn, that we might be near his house and neighbourly. He accompanied us to them himself. Our rooms are large and not inconvenient. Our landlord is a hosier. I am sure I have 1,000 reasons to rejoice that I am so little known, for my present situation is, in every respect, very unenviable, and I would not for the world be seen by any acquaintance of Mrs. Mervyn. This morning, Madame Duval, attended by all the Brangtons, actually went to a justice in the neighbourhood to report the captain's ill usage of her. I had great difficulty in excusing myself from being of the party, which would have given me very serious concern. Indeed, I was extremely anxious, though at home, till I heard the result of the application, for I dread to think of the uneasiness which such an affair would occasion the amiable Mrs. Mervyn. But fortunately, Madame Duval has received very little encouragement to proceed in her design. for she has been informed that, as she neither heard the voice nor saw the face of the person suspected, she will find it difficult to cast him upon conjecture, and will have but little probability of gaining her cause, unless she can procure witnesses of the transaction. Mr. Brangton, therefore, who has considered all the circumstances of the affair, is of opinion that the lawsuit will not only be expensive, but tedious and hazardous, and has advised against it. Madame Duval, though very unwillingly, has acquiesced in his decision, but vows that if ever she is so affronted again, she will be revenged, even if she ruins herself. I am extremely glad that this ridiculous adventure seems now likely to end without more serious consequences. Adieu, my dearest sir. My direction is at Mr. Dawkins, a hosier in High Holborn. Oh, we'll do one more because it's super short. Letter 10. Evelina to Miss Mervyn. So this is to her friend, Maria. Ah, my nose is so itchy. Someone is thinking of me. Ah, gracious. Okay. June 7th. I have no words, my sweet friend, to express the thankfulness I feel for the unbounded kindness which you, your dear mother, and the much honoured Lady Howard have shown me, and still less can I find language to tell you with what reluctance I parted from such dear and generous friends, whose goodness reflects at once so much honour on their own hearts, and on her to whom it has been so liberally bestowed. But I will not repeat what I have already written to the kind Mrs. Mervyn. I will remember your admonitions and confine to my own breast that gratitude with which you have fulfilled it, and teach my pen to dwell upon subjects less painful to my generous correspondent. Oh, Maria, London now seems no longer the same place where I lately enjoyed so much happiness. Everything is new and strange to me. Even the town itself has not the same aspect. My situation so altered, my home so different, my companions so changed. But you well know my averseness to this journey. Indeed, to me London now seems a desert. That gay and busy appearance it so lately wore is now succeeded by a look of gloom, fatigue, and lassitude. The air seems stagnant, the heat is intense, the dust intolerable, and the inhabitants illiterate and underbred. At least, such is the face of things in the part of the town where I at present reside. Tell me, my dear Maria, do you ever retrace in your memory the time we passed here when together? To mine, it recurs forever, and yet I think I rather recollect a dream or some visionary fancy than a reality. That I should ever have been known to Lord Orville, that I should have spoken to, have danced with him, seems now romantic illusion, and that elegant politeness, that flattering attention, that high-bred delicacy, which so much distinguished him above all other men, and which struck us with such admiration, I now retrace the remembrance of rather as belonging to an object of ideal perfection formed by my own imagination. She likes him a lot. Than to a being of the same race and nature as those with whom I at present converse. I have no news for you, my dear Miss Mervyn, for all that I could venture to say of Madame Duval I have already written to your sweet mother, and as to adventures I have none to record. Situated as I now am, I heartily hope I shall not meet with any. My wish is to remain quiet and unnoticed. Adieu. Excuse the gravity of this letter, and believe me, your most sincerely affectionate and obliged, Evelina Anville. Okay. Well, that will do it for today. Oh, I am so tired. What did I do with my? I had a little card that I had in my book for a bookmark. I got some molds for bookmarks, and someday when I'm not so stinking busy all day, every day with 10 million things to do, I'll make some cute bookmarks, and then I'll show them off. But not today or tomorrow, probably or the next day. I have a lot to do. Tess says love you. I love you guys so dang much, and I miss you all day, every day. Miss you. You guys are my sweeties. I was thinking that we should save up and plan a trip for like March. Might be too soon because that doesn't give much time, but maybe May, maybe for mine and Baya's birthdays, we will all get together some, as soon as it's hot here. I wish everybody could come in the winter because winter in Florida is so beautiful because it's nice and warm and pleasant. You can get out of the cold and come where it's nice and have a beach day in February, which is awesome. It would be so much fun. Anyway, maybe we'll have to talk about it. I'll look into it and see what I can figure out. What we really need to do is go stay on the beach for a week with everybody. Or go on a cruise to the Bahamas. Let's do that. I'll just make a whole bunch of money. Okay, well, I have been missing you guys so much, and I've been missing doing the reading, so I'm so glad you guys hopped on here because I've been missing everybody, and I need to stay caught up to it because I work really hard, and the one thing that I do for me is sit down and read and spend a few minutes with you guys and love you and miss you, and I haven't been doing it, and I feel neglected, so I got to quit neglecting me. I don't neglect anybody else, so I should do a little bit of me time sometimes. You'd think I'd take a little bit of me time and make so I don't look so horrible and sit down. But no, I don't. I neglect myself that way. But no, I'm going to do my readings. I enjoy it too much. And I am going to do Anne of Green Gables next. And I'm probably going to get this series where I do, because the Anne of Green Gables, there's a lot of books. Not only does it go through Anne of Green Gables and Anne of Avonlea and Anne of... what's it called? For heaven's sake, I just totally... There's several of those books, but then there's some of her children. So that'll be fun too. There's a bunch of them. So I thought, what, why not do the whole Anne of Green Gables series? So that's what we're doing next after we finish this. And we are not even half done with this book. It's kind of a long one, but we're almost half done. So I'll get those and we'll start with that next time. So I'm excited too. That was a very good suggestion, Tess. Can't wait. So love you guys so much, and we will see you next time. Bye. I meant Caden, but I said bye because I was thinking of bye. Caden, say hi. Say hi. Hi. We go do these events and stuff, and he's so cute.
One
People,
or multiple?
That's got to be multiple. People love him because he's really shy, but he'll always smile. Like if you look at him, he will smile, and people kind of freak out. Oh, he smiled at me. I'm like, yeah, he's a smiley guy. What are you doing? Oh no, what did you do?
Multiple, it's one.
Uh-oh.
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 You got
Uh-oh. I love you. Yeah, say bye-bye.
Can I roll this up or not?
Probably. What are you doing? I'll pinch you.
There's
Kaden, say hi. He said hi. Come say hi because Tess is on here and she wants to say hi. Oh, now she's being shy. She'll come over here and make faces at the camera, but as soon as somebody's on here that she knows, she's like, no, don't look at me. I love you. Mwah. Okay, miss you guys. Not yet. Don't close it. My goodness. Don't show my fat belly. She starts closing it. My pod's poking out here, and everybody's like, oh, chubby lady. It's not funny. That is not funny. Hey, no. What did you do? Did you end my stream? I don't know if it even ended. That wasn't very nice because I didn't get to say goodbye. Oh, it didn't end. We're still here. She closed the computer and it didn't end my stream. I thought for sure. Well, that wasn't very nice. There she is.
Did you see her flat belly?
Hey. Did you see her fat belly? I'm going to tickle you. Okay. Well, we are going to
And I have Roblox too.
Yeah, lots of Roblox, lots of games. Okay. Ew, gross. Oh, look. Tess said, hi, Kalissa. Ew, gross. You're putting that in your mouth. Nobody's ever going to buy it if they know you put it in your mouth. Now I have to go wash it. Oh, did you hear him? Ball. He can see the ball. Don't put it in your mouth. Gross. Now I have to wash it. Sick. Nobody wants to buy it if it has spit on it. Ew. Okay.
Yes,
No, they don't.
yes, do.
Listen, let these guys hear him saying ball. What is it? Is it a ball? What is it? What is it? Is it a ball? It's so cute. Hey, Lisa. He'll say, every time he says ball, he says, ball, ball, ball. But when he sees a balloon, he says, boon, boon. Yeah, he's learning to talk. It's adorable. Okay. All right. We are going to go before we get too annoying. Goodbye. Thank you for taking the time.
Not saying goodbye.
You're not saying, well, I will. Goodbye. Good night. We'll see you next time. Come and kill us if you want. She's in a mood. And don't forget to like the video because that does help. Good night. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Oh, he's waving. Bye. Oh,